He is working on his laptop, also on a call with some of his co-employees. His wife gives him a coffee, so he thanks her, but then she goes in for the kiss, but his co-employees started to ask what happened, because he went silent while speaking. Afterwards she started to walk in the tiptoe, but he embarrassingly tells his co-employees to not worry because he was just thinking about something, but those guys thought to themselves it must have been his wife. After finishing his work call, he tells to her that he was on the call. In the end, both of them goes in for the kiss. At the next day he comes back from his work. She then happily greets him and goes in to hug him, but he asks her to get down, since he is sweating a lot. To which she stares at him with a grin on her face. And then she started to remove his tie. After doing it, she goes in to smell it, and then she blushingly says that she likes this smell. After a while he started to hug her, so she asks him that he is hugging her a lot for today. So he replies he is just in that mood, to which she accepts it at first. And then she smilingly asks if he is not gonna go beyond hugging. After hearing it he started to think about it, and then blushingly says he will go beyond it, but she blushingly hugs him back. After returning from his work, he sees someone knocking on the door of his house, who is really drunk. To which he comforts him, and says he is in the wrong house. As a result, that drunk guy realizes he was in the wrong floor. In the end, when he opened the door, she was scared for her life, while saying welcome to him. Afterwards, while crying, she hugs him by saying that she saw that door knob to rattle faster, and then he was banging on the door, which scared her, so she didn't know what to do. Plus she was all alone, so that made her get scared more. Afterwards she silently hugs him, and she was silent for a while. So he slowly lets her sit on the couch, and he asks to her if she got calmed down. But she tightly grips his fingers, and then with a flustered face she says she is calmed down a bit. Afterwards they unloaded an insane amount of second. Afterwards they sees a TV show saying the horoscope that has Pisces should go to the place where they can feel at peace. At the same time the Scorpio should watch a movie. After that she asks him to follow their horoscopes for today, to which he accepts. In the end she started to leave by saying she is going to get ready, but he decides to watch movie in the CD, while thinking they are going in the different direction today, which is really rare. Afterwards he thoughts to himself, maybe she is going to do massage or hot springs, to get relaxed, but then she suddenly sits in front of him, which shocks him. He then asks her if she is not going to go anywhere, to which she grabs his hands and looks at him while smiling. As a result, this made him to realize she thinks him as her place that is making her feel at peace. In the end he hugs her back. Meanwhile she is really happy about it. Afterwards, while walking through the hall, he sees her sleeping in the couch, so he quickly stops and gives her a kiss, but then he suddenly hears a sound coming from the other room, so he went in to check it. Meanwhile she is flustered because she wasn't fully asleep. After finishing the work, he texts his wife that he is heading back. But after coming back home, he spots something on the door, which was from his wife. Since it was a Valentine's Day, she asks him to complete the tasks that she had laid out in the entire house. And the first one is putting his bag down, so he put it down. Next one is drinking the tea, and putting his coat on the hanger. Afterwards the final one is putting his shirt in the Ziploc bag. While doing it he thoughts to himself, maybe she is planning to send this to a cleaning shop. In the end he arrives at the door, and it says congratulations for arriving to the final, and then that note tells him to enter that room. Inside she was taking a bath, and with a flustered smile she welcomes him in inside. As a result he got eaten in there. Afterwards she takes the shirt he put in the cover. While sniffing, she thoughts to herself that she can't get enough of it. In the end she decides to do the laundry, but she didn't wash the shirt he wore, and she placed it in a wardrobe. Inside there, it was full of shirts he wore 3 days before. At the next day she leaves the house to get a haircut. As a result he decides to clean the house while she is gone. And then he started to clean the ventilation and the air conditioner. Afterwards he accidentally opened the wardrobe, which had his old shirts. After taking it he thoughts to himself whether she forgot to wash them. As a result he cleans them out. But after returning home she was shocked to see her collection is empty, but she was shocked to realize she got caught. He then suddenly calls her and this shocks her. But then he blushingly gives her a present by saying it's his Valentine's Day return gift. As a result she started hug him while getting relieved that he didn't find it. She then goes on by asking him to have a bath with him after this, which made him to think if he is that smelly. Afterwards, while he was in the meeting, his co-worker says he saw his wife in the background while doing work in the morning, which made her to panic. That was really cute, which is making him to get jealous. Plus she prepares him his lunch right, after hearing everything she was flustered, while standing outside. His co-worker then says he is really careful and shows more attention to minute details when they are discussing about work. Is he doing it with his wife too? To which he quickly replies he is not good at doing those things with his wife. Which shocks her. But then he says he will definitely take care of her until the very end, which gave her a glimpse of them holding hands together while being really old. Afterwards, when he finishes his work, she suddenly stands behind him, which just confuses him. But for her, she was really happy. Afterwards, while returning from work, he sends her the text message saying he finished his work after getting out of the train. He realizes she might be sleeping right now from being tired. Afterwards, he hears everyone speaking about a criminal who is really dangerous, is on the run and didn't get caught by the police. He then silently walks in the rain. And suddenly he sees an ambulance going past him. In the end, he started to run, while thinking that she got caught by that criminal. After reaching his apartment, he rushes to his room to see her sleeping peacefully, which made him to get relieved. And he goes in to hug her. At the next day when he returns, she holds a sketchbook saying her husband should kiss her every time he says, "I love you." After finishing it, she flips the paper and it asks him to do it once more. After a while, she is preparing him a huge meal, because today is the day he will be returning back to home after a 5 days trip. She then goes on by planning to do it later in the night to calm him down. Right after she finished thinking it, he comes back home, which made her to get happy. She then happily comes in to see him, while wearing only apron. She then says she made a heartfelt food for his return. But to her surprise, he hugs her from behind, and he goes on by lifting her, which made her to blush because he straight up took her to his room. After that, while doing it, he decides to stop because he reeks of sweat, to which she blocks him by using her legs. At the next day, he got a perfume from random seller, and she says this smell will create a perfect atmosphere for his partner to turn every seductive. But he hears everything very seriously, but after returning home she got shocked by the smell, which made him to get sad, because he thought she will like this smell, but then after reading the perfume book, she tells him to stop putting perfumes, because she is okay with him being by himself. Afterwards she goes on by asking him about a line from the note, which says, the perfume will let him see his partner's that type of face, so she blushingly asks if he wants to see it. To which his face turns serious, and he says he wants to see it. As a result, he saw many type of her different faces. Afterwards someone rings the calling bell, to which he tells her to not go, and he will see who it is. After a while he takes out the trash with him. She then says she will be leaving to do shopping, but after seeing the shopping list he decides to go with her by saying it's like it might be heavy, which suddenly shocks her. She then, with a smug face, asks him if he saw a TV show about impressing their wife. Afterwards she shows a love meter where it's in 100, and she says her love for him will always stay at 100, which made him to blush. He then goes on by saying he saw a sad story, where a man lost his wife, so because of that it will be really terrifying for him if anything were to happen to her in his absence. Which shocks her, and her love meter readings went over the 100. Afterwards she caught a cold. He then says sorry to her for only cooking porridge. She then, with a gloomy expression, says sorry to him. All of a sudden he blushingly replies, if she is alive, that's all that matters. As a result she blushingly looks at him. Afterwards she comes home from the saloon and they cut her hair little extra on the back, to which he pats on her head while telling to her that she looks like a university student. She then, with a blushing face, suddenly gets an idea. In the end it became night. When he was about to sleep, she calls his name by adding san in the end, which confuses him, but after seeing her face, which is like she is in the university, which gave him a heart skip. After that she sits next to him, and says this is her first time, so he should be gentle with her. Afterwards, on a random evening, she is holding his hands while blushing, and she says she loves him and wants to stay like this forever. At the next day it was lunchtime, and his co-workers saw him taking out his lunchbox, and they started to say that they wants to get married soon, so they can also get love-filled lunch from their wife. In the end they leaves. Afterwards he realizes there is a paper on the lunchbox. When he opened it, it's a letter from his wife telling him to do his best in the afternoon, and she is also preparing his favorite food for dinner. After reading it he started to smile, and then he sends her a thanks message. After reading it she got happy, and then both of them gets ready to eat the food at the same time. Afterwards, in his workplace, a small cat is drinking milk. He then says he bought other stuffs other than milk for the cat. After that he thoughts to himself that his work colleague found this stray cat, so they decided to take care of it in the room at their workplace. Afterwards at the night time he returns to his home, and his wife got shocked to see a receipt that says pet collar. She then goes on by thinking if he is into that type of roleplay. Afterwards she looks at him, and thinks it's actually not that bad. Where she will act like a cat. Afterwards while eating she was happy while thinking about it, and while sleeping she was happy. In the end nothing happened like she thought. Meanwhile he is worried that she has already went to sleep, so he decides to give her more attention. After a while she was waiting for him, because after finishing her shopping she somehow ended up in a place he will come after finishing his work. She then goes on by getting happy after seeing other couples. As a result she thoughts to herself that she wants to do lovely-dovely stuffs with her husband after returning home. All of a sudden someone calls her. He then straight up says she looks really cute. Which shocks her. He then goes on by saying she looks like she is studying high school. Afterwards he says he will drop her at her home, to which she replies she is fine because she is waiting for someone, but he still insisted on talking to her until her friends come. All of a sudden someone puts their hand in the wall, which was her husband, and he says, "He is here." He then started to walk with her. But then he angrily looks at that guy, which scared him, and he slowly apologizes. Meanwhile he was holding her hands tightly, and his face turned fully red, because he always gets embarrassed to hold hands. She then looks at his face, and gets shocked by thinking it's really cute. After returning they did a lots of lovely-dovely. When he returned home from work, she welcomes him, and they enters into the bath together. Afterwards they even eats food together, but then before going to bed they decided to watch a movie, but he slept, and when he woke up, he got shocked because he slept. As a result he started to say sorry to her for sleeping, while thinking he is always giving importance to his work, but to his surprise, she slowly stretches her hands. Afterwards she pulls him in, and giving him a pillow, while he was being shocked. She looks down at him by saying, she knows he is giving his all every day, and working really hard, because she will always watch over him. In the end she thanks him for always working hard. Which made him to blush, and he gets back to sleep. Meanwhile she started to pat his head. Afterwards at the morning she says, "I love you," to him, and when he returns she says, "I love you" once again. Afterwards when they're watching TV before going to bed, she once again says, "I love you." Afterwards while bathing he thoughts to himself that she is the one that's saying "I love you" every time. After finished bathing she started to come towards him while saying "I love you." As a result he quickly grabs her head, and then he started to say "I love," but before he could finish it, she puts her finger on his lips, and then with a flustered face she asks him to tell it to her later, because those two words itself making her to blush really hard. In the end he told her lots of "I love you" later. After a while they decides to watch movie. She then suddenly started to do something, to which he asks to her on what happened. She then replies she is fine, but it's just some fragrance and perfumes she is not good with. In the end they gets inside the elevator. But for her that place is full of fragrance smell that she doesn't like. In the next floor more people started to come. As a result the elevator becomes really tight. He then takes a look at her, but she is digging her face into him while inhaling and exhaling really fast. But this shocks him since she doesn't look like she is fine. Afterwards everyone leave the elevator, so he looks at her, and to his surprise she says he smells great. In the end, they enjoyed the 4D movie later at their home. In the Valentine she asks him on what type of chocolate will make him fall for her. Is it heart-shaped or square-shaped? To which he replies it's none of the above. So for his honesty she will give him the chocolate and herself. And then he got confused after receiving the chocolate that was square. Meanwhile she blushingly looks at him until he notices. Afterwards he leaves for work after doing telework at home for a month. After he left she stands there silently. She then sits silently while drinking coffee. Afterwards she does cleaning and tidying up, and even silently cooks food. Afterwards at the night time, she sits in the sofa silently, and then she gets a notification, which is from him, and he says he is returning home from work. Which made her to get really happy, that she started to comb her hair. She even puts a lipstick. Afterwards she eagerly waits for his return, and happily flaps her legs while sitting on the sofa. In the end he returns, to which she blushingly welcomes him back. After a while she takes a hot and fresh milk to him. After receiving it he says thank you to her, and then he asks her to head back and sleep first, because he feels like it will take more time. As a result she says she will head to their bedroom first. Afterwards she started to blush and gives him a kiss. She then goes on by saying she might end up falling asleep, but she will try her best to stay awake for him. which was a moment he got a powerful buff. In the end, he comes to his bedroom after finishing his work. To his surprise, she had drawn, "Have fun," by pointing an arrow on her. Inside the blanket, she is not wearing anything. After a while, she thoughts to herself that he is always going to work. Also, it's currently Thursday, so all she had to do is wait a day and finish the chores she have. Only then she can enjoy the weekend with him by going out. Afterwards, she realizes that she got a lot of chores to finish. While getting excited about the weekend, she suddenly gets a message, which was from him saying he is on the way to home. All of a sudden, he sends a follow-up message saying he suddenly got a day off for tomorrow. As a result, her chores she had lined up gets erased from her mind. And then she excitingly replies, "Let's go outside," but at the next day she got a fever. To which she says sorry to him because they had planned a 3 days trip for this weekend. To which he asks her to rest properly, also it doesn't matter because he gets to stay with her. But then at the morning of the 3rd day, she decides to give back what she received. Afterwards they came of the cafe date, and she is happily drinking a juice, and he started to say that he is surprised to see this place being packed as usual. He then goes on by saying they could have afforded a better place if she wants, to which she stops drinking her juice, and she smilingly says that she likes to come here. As a result, he accepts, and then he started to say something. He then goes on by saying a lot of things, but she is enjoying him saying everything. While thinking that he doesn't always talk like this, but if they are here he talks a lot. While looking at her, she then asks him to let her hear his voice more. Afterwards she gets a memory where he is always talking when he works, but doesn't talk anything when he is with her. As a result, she blushingly looks at him by thinking this exact moment is hers. Meanwhile, he thoughts to himself that he is glad she looks satisfied. Afterwards they received a package, to which he replies that he ordered this package, which comes with 3 different Japanese alcohol, which is really random. So he thought it will be great to send some to his parents as a gift. In the end, he asks her to drink some because she used to like drinking as well, which made her to think she loves him so much. Afterwards she started to drink. In the end she was satisfied because it was her first time to see which one tastes better. In the end, both of them sits in the sofa after getting drunk, but he was patting her head. After some time later, her father-in-law says thanks for the alcohol they sent them. Afterwards they bought some crepes. She then takes a bite, and asks him to take a bite from a place she didn't bite, but to her surprise he grabs it with his both hands, and takes a bite from where she bited before. After that he started eating it, to which she thinks that he was going to kiss her while having her heart beat really fast. She then wakes up in the morning, and gets shocked because there is only 5 minutes left before her husband leaves for work. As a result, she panickingly rushes out, but to her surprise she sees a note in the table, which says he left her some breakfast for her. As a result, she gets shocked. And then she sees him leaving, so she calls him, to which he says sorry to her for waking her up. She then gets sad while saying she overslept and also thanks for making the breakfast. He then gets closer to her, and kisses on her cheeks, and then he leaves by saying he will come home earlier. But she was standing there fully flustered. In the end she overslept for the upcoming days too. Afterwards she wakes up, and looks at him sleeping. As a result she slowly gets on top of him, and then hugs him to get fully charged. In the end she happily leaves the room. She then started to brush her teeth, and finish the laundry, also some shopping. After making the breakfast, she decides to take some break. As a result she lies in the bed. Afterwards he wakes up, and looks at her sleeping next to him. As a result he smiles and pats on her head, which made her to blush and smile. This shocks him. In the end he started to smile as well. Afterwards both of them says good morning to each other, and started to eat the breakfast together.